I nicked my shin on the corner of my own coffee table 8 months ago, a small thing, the kind of scrape that used to close up in 3 days when I was younger. This one took the better part of 3 weeks, and I watched it every single morning with a kind of dread I never used to feel about my own skin. I'm Robert, I'm 83, and I know that dread isn't rare among people my age with diabetes. If you've ever watched a small cut take far too long to close, you already know exactly the feeling I mean. I still climb the ladder to clean my own gutters every October, and I still carry both trash cans to the curb myself every single week without asking a neighbor for help. Here's what almost nobody sits down and explains. A slow healing cut on your leg or foot isn't a separate problem from your circulation. It's the exact same story, just told at the site of an injury instead of in your fingertips or your knees. Healing a wound requires two things arriving together at the site of the damage: enough blood flow to deliver oxygen and nutrients, and enough raw material, specifically a nutrient your body uses to build new collagen, the structural protein that literally knits skin back together. When either one of those is running short, healing slows down, sometimes dramatically. I think about the people I know who can still get a scrape on their arm gardening and barely think twice about it a week later, and I think about the ones who watch every cut like it might become something serious. That second group isn't imagining things. Their body is genuinely working with less of what it needs, and that's worth understanding instead of just fearing. So let's talk about the actual mechanism, because once you understand it, a slow healing scrape stops feeling like a mystery you're powerless against. When blood sugar runs high for years, it damages the lining of small blood vessels throughout your body, the same vessels responsible for delivering blood to the outermost layers of skin, especially in the feet and lower legs, which are farthest from your heart. Less blood delivered to an injury means less oxygen and fewer of the raw materials your skin needs to rebuild itself. At the same time, your body relies on a specific vitamin to activate two enzymes that build the structural framework of new collagen. Without enough of it, wounds physically cannot close as fast, no matter how good your circulation is otherwise. This is documented in wound healing research going back decades, and it's one of the more well-established, unglamorous facts in the entire field. Your doctor knows both halves of this. What your doctor rarely has time to walk you through, in a short visit focused on your numbers, is the specific nutritional piece, that a wound needs a very particular vitamin as raw material on top of whatever circulation you already have.
That's a teaching conversation, and those get cut for time more than almost anything else.
I've read enough messages in our comments section to know I'm not describing something unusual. One reader wrote that she'd started photographing every scrape on her legs the day it happened, just to track how long it took to close, because she'd stopped trusting her own body to heal at a normal pace. That's not paranoia. That's a person paying very close, very reasonable attention to something her doctor genuinely wants her watching too. I want to be completely straight with you before I go further. No fruit heals a wound by itself, and nobody should ever treat a slow healing cut, especially on the foot, as something to manage with diet alone. That always needs a doctor's eyes on it, every time, without exception. What real, established research does show is that specific vitamins and compounds in ordinary fruit are documented to support the exact processes, collagen formation and circulation, that healing depends on. That's genuinely useful information. It doesn't replace medical wound care, and I won't pretend it does. If your feet burn at night, or go numb, or feel cold no matter how many socks you wear, please don't ignore it. I almost did. And I'm 80 years old. For years I told myself it was just age, the tingling, the heaviness in my legs climbing the stairs. But it wasn't age. It was my blood sugar quietly damaging the nerves and the circulation in my legs, and almost nobody warned me in time. If you let it keep going, those little signals turn into something you can't undo. I wasn't willing to lose my feet or my independence. So I started doing one thing every single day to help support healthy blood sugar and protect my legs. I'll show you exactly what in this video. And if you want the simple support I personally use, there's a free presentation linked in the description below. So here are the 5 fruits and why each one earns its place on this list. Number 1 is kiwi. Ounce for ounce, kiwi carries more vitamin C than an orange, And vitamin C is the specific cofactor your body needs to build the collagen structure that closes a wound. It's cheap, it's small, and it's one of the most concentrated common sources of that exact nutrient. Number 2 is guava, alongside citrus generally. Guava, where available, actually beats kiwi in vitamin C content per serving according to standard nutritional databases. And where it isn't available, an ordinary orange still delivers a solid, reliable dose. Either one, eaten regularly rather than occasionally, keeps that collagen-building raw material steadily available. Number 3 is papaya. Vitamin C again, but also natural enzymes that have a long documented history of supportive use around tissue and inflammation, similar in principle to what pineapple offers for joints. A few slices with breakfast is an easy habit that costs almost nothing at most grocery stores. Number 4 is pomegranate. Rich in polyphenols linked to the same nitric oxide pathway that keeps blood vessels open and delivering blood efficiently, which matters enormously for a healing wound that depends entirely on blood actually arriving at the site. A small glass or a handful of seeds is enough to build the habit. Number 5 is watermelon. Its L-citrulline content has been documented in vascular research to support the same kind of improved blood vessel function that a healing wound depends on to get enough blood flow to the injury site in the first place. It's also mostly water, which matters more than people realize. Mild dehydration measurably worsens circulation to the extremities. None of these 5 is a substitute for a doctor examining an actual wound. Together, though, eaten as a regular habit rather than a rare treat, they supply exactly the raw materials, vitamin C for collagen, and vascular support for delivery, that healing research keeps pointing back to. If you can only start with one, I'd say kiwi or citrus, whichever is easier to find and afford where you live, simply because vitamin C is the single most well-established piece of this entire mechanism. Decades of wound healing research keep coming back to it. Add the others gradually. A habit that survives the whole year matters more than a perfect list you only follow for a week. I don't stop at fruit either. I check my own feet with my hands every single night, not just a glance, because a small cut can hide in a foot that doesn't feel pain the way it used to. I keep a glass of water on my nightstand, because staying hydrated overnight supports circulation the next morning. And I do 2 minutes of ankle circles before bed most nights, because moving the ankle pumps blood back up the leg through muscle contraction alone, a mechanism documented in exercise physiology for years. 2 weeks ago, I got a small cut hauling firewood, the kind that used to worry me for days, and it closed clean within about a week. No infection, nothing to report to my doctor beyond a passing mention at my regular visit. I want to tell you about a woman named Delphine Nakamura, 70 years old, a retired school teacher outside Cape Town who'd been diabetic for over 15 years. She wrote in describing a scrape on her shin that took nearly 6 weeks to fully close the year before, and the fear that came with watching it every single day, wondering if it would ever stop being an open wound. She started adding kiwi and citrus to her mornings, papaya a few times a week, alongside the wound care and monitoring her own doctor had her doing without any change to that plan. She told our group that the next time she scraped her shin, months later, it closed in what she estimated was under 2 weeks. She was careful to say she couldn't be fully certain how much came from the fruit versus simply catching it earlier and keeping it cleaner from the start. I share her experience as one woman's story, not a promise. Every case is different, and nothing here replaces what her own doctor has her doing for any wound. What she said that stayed with me most wasn't about the wound at all. It was that she stopped photographing every scrape out of fear and started just living her days again, gardening without flinching every time a thorn caught her arm. She told me the photographs had become a kind of quiet ritual of dread, a way of bracing herself for bad news every single morning before she'd even had her tea. Letting that ritual go, she said, gave her back a piece of her morning that had nothing to do with the wound at all, just an ordinary cup of tea, taken without checking her own leg first. Please don't stop or adjust any medication, and never manage an actual slow-healing wound with diet alone. See your doctor about any cut that isn't closing as expected, every time, without delay. Talk to your own doctor about your circulation and your healing before changing anything, including what fruit ends up on your plate. I think often about the people my age who scrape an arm gardening and barely think about it again, and the ones who watch every cut with quiet dread, assuming their body simply can't heal like it used to. So much of what separates them comes down to whether they kept feeding the exact processes, circulation and collagen, that healing depends on, instead of only fearing the outcome. It's not too late to pay attention to that. The body keeps responding to attention, even at our age, even after years of being ignored. If you made it this far, you already understand more about your own legs than most people your age ever will. That matters. You know now that the burning, the numbness, the cold feet, they trace back to one thing: blood sugar slowly working against your nerves and circulation. And you know the goal isn't a miracle. It's protecting your ability to stand, to walk, to stay independent. That's why, alongside everything I showed you today, I use a simple daily support to help keep my blood sugar in a healthy range, so my legs keep carrying me where I want to go. I put the free presentation in the description below. Go watch it. And as always, keep working with your doctor. This supports your routine. It doesn't replace it. If slow healing cuts or scrapes have worried you too, tell me in the comments how long yours typically take. I read every one. And if this kind of honest, mechanism-first information matters to you, subscribe, because we break down exactly this, one real cause at a time, every week.